Welcome back to Beyond the Curve, where we expose truth through lies, where we use our brain and mind to open our eyes.
Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here.
Well, that's where you live. Junk is flat. Come with me on a journey beyond the ice walls. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive right in. The Matrix is real.
Throughout history, these bony ridges may have been misidentified as protrusions.
Reptilians, they're everywhere.
The Bailey photo was taken from the highest mountain in Wales called Yrwythfa. It has an awesome little train that takes you to the top. I just love the views there. I don't know about you, but this definitely is my kind of thing. This is now officially on my bucket list. Yrwythfa has an elevation of 3,560 feet. Now, what makes the Bailey photo so amazing is that you can see the Alps that are over 700 miles away. Here is Yrwythfa, and here are the peaks. There are 8 peaks we're going to look at, starting from right to left, and please excuse my pronunciation. Jungfrau, at a distance of 701 miles. Grand Combe, 709 miles. Dent du Midi, 686 miles. Mont Blanc, 701 miles. Point Percy, 685 miles. La Tournette, 683 miles. Meige, 729 miles. And Bar des Secrets, 735 miles. Looking at the Bailey photo zoomed in, of course the naysayers are going to claim that those are clouds in the distance. And admittedly, it can be difficult to differentiate between white clouds and snow-capped mountains. But those are not clouds, and that's what I'm going to prove. On the Bailey photo, here is where you can find the 8 peaks. The Bar des Secrets there on the right is 735 miles away. Absolutely amazing. It would simply take too much time to look at all 8 peaks, and so I encourage you to watch the whole video by Nouvelle. He did a great job at lining those peaks up with the Bailey photo. For us, we're going to concentrate on only one path here. Yrwythfa to Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc, which means the White Mountain, is the highest mountain in the Alps. Here is Google Earth's elevation profile from Yrwythfa to Mont Blanc. Maybe you noticed that Google Earth got it right, and that there is no curvature for the elevation profile. But notice how there is little elevation in between our 2 points, which gives Yrwythfa at 3,560 feet, a great vantage to see Mont Blanc at 15,774 feet. Here is where Mont Blanc is located in the Bailey photo. This is the same photo cropped. Compare this cropped photo of Mont Blanc with another picture of the same mountain from a distance. I don't think anyone can reasonably disagree. The Bailey photo certainly looks very close to the other actual pictures of Mont Blanc. It's very close. But if that were the only evidence, I'd probably not share this video because it would be too debatable. For me, this is what ends the debate. It is the fact that all 8 of these peaks match up with the Bailey photo, and I encourage you to examine it yourself. But let's look at Mont Blanc more closely. This is the Google pathway to Mont Blanc from your Witwa. I think you can see it much better from this angle, and it absolutely matches the Bailey photo angle. It's a definite match. But all 8 of the peaks line up. Add on the fact that the mountain, it looks just like Mont Blanc, and so it's dispositive. Yeah, I think this ends the globe.
And okay, here's an infrared picture taken by Jay Tolan Media One. And what they do is they specialize in filming and taking pictures with infrared cameras, because the infrared takes out all
Yeah, that junk is flat.
the haze in the atmosphere, which distorts your view. Anyways, this picture was taken from a plane that was just taking off over Lake Michigan at 1,800 feet in altitude, and 1,000 miles out over the horizon, you can see the Rocky Mountains. Now, just in case Professor Dumb Dave says that's not 1,000 miles away, let's take a look here on Google Maps. So let me zoom this in so everyone can see this. And as you can see, it's actually 1,006.78 miles from Lake Michigan. So anyways, there's your picture. And just in case you think that's impossible, I'll let Jay Tolan Media One show you how it's done.
So this is my infrared filter. It's a 950 nanometer long-pass infrared filter. Blocks visible and lets infrared through, basically. I'll be putting that on the front of the camera and then switch the camera to night shot. You'll be amazed, just watch. Wow, look at that. Isn't that incredible? This green tint is default and I cannot change it in Photoshop or Adobe Premiere. I'll be changing it. So this looks much better.
Look at everything, how clear it is through the infrared and what you can see compared to without that lens on there.
This is the World Submarine Cables Map. I want you to think of South America as 1, Africa as 2, and Australia as 3. Notice how there are no cables from here to here or here to here. You might ask, why is that important? Here's why. The reason you will never see these cables connected is because look how far the distance is from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and the vastness from 1 to 3. But some globers will still say, what about these cables here? Oh yeah, you mean the short distance right here? But you might ask yourself, why is that important? Over 99% of the world's internet traffic, including international phone calls and data transfers, rely on cables, not satellites cables. You'll pull up any map of sea cables and you will see that none of these touch because we live on a flat geocentric plane. And of course, TikTok. This is for entertainment purposes.
You can hammer on the globe. Everybody starts out hating flat Earth, and everybody tears down the globe themselves. That's why we have a 99% retention rate.
Do you not believe any proof in anything?
No, I believe in proof in things.
Okay.
But
in which case, well, I've got to ask you.
Sure.
That we obviously, those of us who believe that the Earth is round,
right.
There are lots and lots of things that would help us to convince ourselves that the Earth is indeed round.
Globe, by the way.
The globe. Yeah.
I mean, technically, this is round.
Okay. And flat. And so, what proof do you have?
Got it.
No one has ever been there.
Got it.
No one has ever taken any pictures of the ice wall that surrounds us.
Exactly.
So no one can get anywhere near. Why can't we go there? Why can't I?
Oh, the Antarctic Treaty. And you can go there if you want to spend, I think it's like 12,000 pounds. You can go to the edge, one of the peninsulas, and get your picture taken with penguins.
No, I want to see the wall. Well, no,
Well, I mean, the wall itself
Attenborough's
just
been to
extends for a long. You can get to the Antarctic coastline. That's not a problem.
Yeah. I want to go to the wall.
Boy, you're going to go all the way in here. No, the Antarctic Treaty forbids it. You cannot go there. It's locked down. It's the only unbroken treaty in the history of treaties.
So every country in the world.
Oh no, it's not secret information. None of this stuff is secret information.
But where are you getting that information?
What, the Antarctic Treaty? It's public domain. I mean, it's a PDF. In fact, I gave it to your producer.
But the
It's on a
Antarctic
flash
Treaty is about limiting the stripping of resources.
It's all corporations. Every corporation in the world, no one can set up shop there. And it's also the only piece of real estate in the world that's not owned by anybody. A little strange, since we're fighting over real estate all the time. But no, I mean, stripping of resources in a treaty that was built in 1959, environmentalism wasn't even a word back then.
Do we communicate with anyone out there? Is there any trade between the two places?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you that. To your proof questions, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time left. Sorry, let me give you the 5 bullet points that I gave Georgetown physicist, and he folded like a card table almost immediately. I put this challenge up to Brian Cox, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, any of these guys. First one would be long distance photography. Curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile squared. We eventually should not be able to see over the hill. We should be a hill. It should be gone. HD technology has changed that. Now we can see things way, way further. There's some wonderful work being done by Nathan Oakley and some UK teams where they're actually seeing a horizon behind oil platforms at 10, 15, 20 miles. Gravity versus the vacuum of space. Gravity's holding things down, right? That's gravity, no problem, right? You make the upper part of this a vacuum chamber, you pull a cork, everything's going to rush upstairs. Well, why, when you go outside, why isn't the air outside rushing into space? You can't. The atmosphere. Why doesn't it go into space? Can't say gravity anymore because gravity didn't hold the air in this room for that little test. Third, the moon eclipse is too small. The moon eclipse is 70 miles wide, and the moon is 2,000 miles wide. We never see that in nature. The moon eclipse we say the moon is about 70 miles wide. Fourth would be the moon temperature. That's a spooky one. I didn't even know that till about two years in, which is the moon generates a cold light, which is warmer in the moon shade than it is in the moonlight. If you magnify moonlight, it gets even colder. It's generating a cold laser light. It doesn't even make sense. And the last question, which is the Van Allen radiation trap question, which is, are the Van Allen radiation belts deadly? Yes or no? If they are deadly, then how the Americans get past it with no shielding whatsoever? Remember, the only thing that can stop radiation is gold, lead, and a whole bunch of water. They went with aluminum and plastic. Nobody died. Nobody got radiation poisoning. No, even got cancer. There's still 5 of them walking around today. If you say yes, then why does NASA have this wonderful video, Ryan Trial by Fire, saying, oh yeah, we can't send any capsules into space because we haven't solved the radiation problem yet?
Well, maybe that's because you've got to go closer when you go to Mars and it takes longer and there's more exposure, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, well. Maybe, he says.
Well, no, I'm not going to shoot it down. It's a better answer than I've gotten from a lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
NASA say, we've known the Earth is round for more than 2,000 years. The Earth is not a perfect sphere because the force caused by the Earth's rotation, north and south poles are slightly flat. Earth's rotation, wobbly motion, and other forces are making the planet change shape very slowly. But it is still round. And that's NASA, but you say that they're in on it.
Yeah.
I say, listen, of all the things that are going on in the world, of everything that's happening, I think we'd all probably cope if someone said, actually, it looks like this.
I think we would too.
Okay, all right, fine.
I absolutely agree with you, which is why I think it's being let out. I'm not.
Stop spending all the money on CGI and space products and projects, and let's build some more hospitals.
Absolutely.
I think we can all cope with it.
I agree. 1960, I don't think we were ready. 2020, I think we are.
Let's go there and see what's like on the other side. There might be
Gyroscopes. Gyroscopes are precision instruments consisting of a wheel mounted inside 2 or 3 gimbals, which provide pivoting support and allow the wheel to rotate about a single axis. As the entire contraption moves and shifts angles, the gimbals move and shift accordingly, but the inner wheel never changes its angle with respect to its initial reference frame. This unique property is called rigidity in space, meaning the inner wheel maintains its orientation and axis of rotation in relation to space and not to the surface of the Earth. This means that the base of a gyroscope set in motion with its axis in a vertical position, then placed on a table for 6 hours, should rotate 90 degrees with the spinning globe Earth. As the globe turns under the gyroscope for 6 hours, the axis should slowly turn from vertical to horizontal. This experiment has been tested many times with several full-length videos available online, and never does the gyroscope's vertical axis shift whatsoever. If the heliocentric model were true, not only would the gyroscope detect the alleged 1,000-mile-per-hour spin of the globe, but also the 67,000-mile-per-hour revolution around the sun, the entire solar system's 500,000-mile-per-hour spiral around the Milky Way galaxy, and the entire galaxy's multi-million-mile-per-hour journey through the universe. Since these hypothetical motions never register on precision gyroscopes, it is clear that they, just like the spinning ball Earth they're based on, do not exist. Gyroscopes are also the technology behind inertial guidance systems and airplane artificial horizon indicators. When military jets are performing loops, barrel rolls, and other dogfighting maneuvers, the artificial horizon allows pilots to easily see their exact orientation relative to Earth without having to rely on looking out the window. If Earth was truly a sphere, by simply flying level, airplane artificial horizon indicators should show a steady decline unless pilots constantly correct their altitudes downwards so as not to fly straight off into so-called outer space. For example, a pilot traveling 500 miles per hour over a globe Earth 24,900 miles in circumference would have to descend an average of 2,777 feet, or over half a mile per minute. Otherwise, in 1 hour's time, the plane would be 31.5 miles higher than desired. In fact, if Earth was really a ball, there should be no reason to use rockets for flying into outer space, because simply flying an airplane straight at any altitude for long enough would already inevitably send you there.
How come at 121,000?
Yo, that junk wasn't moving at all. Stand still. We are.
The Earth looks flat. 30,000 feet from a plane, 5 feet. I've been talking to pilots on TikTok, and they say that when they're flying 30, 40, 50,000 feet above the Earth, there's no curve. Furthermore, how do you keep water on a spinning ball? You can't. Here's a good one right here. And if you ever feel bad, just think that NASA would have you believe that in the 70s, this thing went to the moon and back. This makes sense also, right? I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff out there. Do your own research. Pretty crazy. And last one, why would the United Nations use this as their symbol? This is a flat Earth map, by the way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a good day.
All right, here's a big wake-up call. I had to scour the internet to find a 5-day time lapse of the Alaskan 24-hour sun. And you'll see right here, this is up near the Arctic Circle, right? And you'll see the sun goes up, this is high noon, and it's going to come back down again. As it comes back down, you'll see the sun gets smaller each time with each day. So we've already witnessed a few days here, and it comes back around. Here's high noon, and then the sun's going to come back down and set, almost set. It's
If you'll notice, the sun is doing like a figure eight. You see it goes like maybe it's the other way around. A backwards figure eight. something like that. But it's not in outer space. It's not 90 whatever million miles away. It's right there.
It's just simply moving far away and getting smaller. And here it comes back around. It's circling, and that's another day. You can see the days pass, and the sun is local. It is simply just circling above. It's not 93 million miles away. It's not in outer space. In fact, none of the stars or planets or any of this stuff is in outer space. It's all in a closed environment. It's all part of the firmament. The stars and the planets, whatever, are simply lights, the luminaries. But yeah, here it is. Look, nice clear day, sun coming down, and it's going to get smaller and smaller as it sets. See? And here's what you're actually witnessing. I'm going to show you. This is from the FE Clock app. This is Alaska. And look, the sun is just simply moving around in a circle, and it never really gets dark in Alaska in this model. The flat Earth model is what's up. It matches the Bible, and it matches our observation and our feeling. You guys aren't spitting.
Flat Earth wins again! This brilliant man took a high-powered telescope to the ocean's horizon.
This is for all the Globers that still believe you can see the curvature of the Earth watching the ship disappear from the bottom up. Here we have a Nikon P1000 zooming in on the buoy. Zoom out here.
Whoa!
So you can plainly see. It's a matter of perspective.
Flat Earth!
Being can only see 2.8 or 3 miles without magnification. And as you can plainly see, there is no curve. Welcome to Flat Earth.
What if NASA's own documents reveal that Earth isn't a spinning globe at all? Sounds impossible, right? We've all been shown those amazing photos of Earth, a perfectly round planet. But here's something odd. NASA, the organization behind those iconic images, also publishes technical reports for engineers. Therefore, if there's something unusual in those reports, it might challenge what we've been taught. NASA released a technical report called Derivation and Definition of a Linear Aircraft Model. It's a detailed guide for calculating flight dynamics. Sounds like boring math, doesn't it? But here's the twist. In this report, NASA's calculations assume a flat, non-rotating Earth. Yes, flat and stationary. Now, you might be wondering, why would NASA, of all organizations, use a flat Earth model in their calculations? But what if it's because for their real-world applications, a flat model actually works better? When engineers design aircraft or spacecraft, you'd think they'd need to account for Earth's curvature and rotation to ensure accuracy, especially at high speeds. Therefore, it raises a big question. Why doesn't this document mention accounting for a spinning globe? Think about the planets we see in the sky. We're taught that Earth must be a sphere just like them, right? But ancient cultures had a different perspective. They didn't think of them as planets. They called them wandering stars, lights moving through the sky, not solid spherical worlds. Therefore, when you look at them through a telescope, they appear as glowing dots, not surfaces like Earth. Then there's the issue of images. Most of the photos we see of planets, and even Earth, are actually composite images, not single unedited shots. But here's the thing. NASA even admits many of these images are enhanced to present the narrative of a perfectly round planet orbiting in space. Therefore, if the idea of a flat Earth is even remotely possible, it opens the door to countless questions about what else might not be as it seems. Are you ready to explore more about what else we might be missing? Stick around and check out more videos on this page.
Y'all remember this?
Yo, that junk is flat.
Remember this video of the Chicago skyline and how it's impossible to actually see it because it's 56 miles away. It should be covered by like 500 or 600 foot of curve. This guy right here explains it perfect. Caleb, oh yeah, entertainment purposes only, of course.
Now, I'm sure that you've seen this picture before, the Chicago skyline being seen from 60 miles away. Mainstream media told everybody that this was nothing but a superior mirage, so I said I better study mirages a little bit, and I did last night. And you're not going to believe what I found. Let's get the basics down. There's an inferior mirage, which mirages things down, the virtual image down, and then there's a superior mirage, which mirages things up, but reflects it. This is due to cold air stacking onto warm air and vice versa. Give you some examples. Superior mirage, Another superior mirage. And if you're a critical thinker, you're already thinking, how is this a superior mirage if this is a superior mirage? If it reflects the image upside down, they're actually saying that this is a Fata Morgana mirage. You can read here about them. Here's an example of a Fata Morgana mirage. Another example. And now you're thinking, okay, like, makes a little more sense, but why would it be directly connected to the skyline? If it wasn't the skyline, it would be up. Like, I don't know, still problems, but what if I told you that this type of mirage isn't happening either, though? I messed with the contrast, the brightness, and other things, and I'm seeing the skyline again, guys. I'm wondering if this isn't the skyline here, and this is just a wind line that came through and caused the ripples in the water. I did the same thing for the other picture. Do this yourself. And is that the skyline actually right there? Right behind the boat going across? And this is again another wind line creating an optical illusion? I'd say yes. So guys, don't get misled when you're looking into superior mirages. This doesn't happen. Ever. You think that the bottom of this boat was perfectly just gonna be refracted into the sky, not connected, like dude, seriously, guys, you just magic, huh? They think you're so stupid. Seriously. They're saying that this is a superior mirage. The sun backlighting the Chicago skyline, they think you're this dumb. Really? Wow. And I'm not going to name call today, but there's a specific heliosexual going around on lives saying that inferior mirages are the curvature of the earth. No. Inferior mirages are the most common mirage that we'll see over the ocean. There's no curvature to the earth. Look how obvious this is, though. Look at this Fata Morgana mirage. Oh, it's just the wind line.
Okay, you guys remember how I showed you the maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out? Now I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here's Volume 2 out of the Alphabet A. We're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says, the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really, really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be features with a character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat Earth map would look like. Now, this is what a latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat Earth map. As you can see, the dome comes down closer to you over the wall, which would be about 13,000 feet. Now, if you go back out into the center of the Earth, or up the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show this about 385,500 feet away. It's really, really simple, folks. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you could say, well, this guy is crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat Earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there and it gives you the exact height at a certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica. And NASA came in and they erased everything just like they're erasing everything today. So again, ask yourself, if all this existed before 1958, why doesn't it exist now? How come it all of a sudden was erased and just disappeared out of your history books, out of your encyclopedias, out of your libraries? Wake up, people.
Now to a rare look at the tiny cables that run along the bottom of the ocean, connecting Australia with the rest of the world. We rely on this network anytime we stream Netflix, FaceTime someone overseas, or do a Google search. But most of us never give it a second thought.
Resting on the ocean floor among the seaweed and the fish.
Remember when they say your information's stored in the cloud? That's because they want you to think there's stuff above your head when everything's in the ground below you and in the water. That's where the cloud is. All these servers are at the bottom of the ocean, along with all your internet cables and communication cables and everything else. It's all on the ocean floor.
Cable sitting on the seabed.
The reason you can pick up your phone and access any information or video you want.
99% of that digital content comes from our subsea cable network.
Telstra operates around 400,000 kilometres of subsea cable connecting Australia with the world. This is what they look like up close.
They're so tiny.
Yeah, no, it's remarkable. It just amazes me how much the technology has advanced from this to that.
This is coaxial cable. It connected Australia to New Zealand in the 80s and could carry about 1,000 phone calls. That is fibre optic, capable of 200 million calls. But now it's all about data. From your phone to a tower, the data then travels to a cable station across the ocean floor and back at the speed of light. The strategic importance of this underwater information highway on show last month when the Australian government partnered with the United States and Google, a $100 million deal to run undersea cables to at least 8 Pacific Island nations. The international subsea cables make land in Australia here on Sydney's eastern and northern beaches, as well as the Gold Coast and in Perth. They are constantly monitored for any disruption. Just last year, the United States foiled a plan to hack one of its cables near Hawaii. Telstra has built layers of protection, from the armour that coats the fibres to a warning system if a boat gets close, and patrols across Australia and Asia, including mainland China, to fix any disruptions.
If the water is 8 kilometres deep, it could take 8 hours to get the grappling hook to the bottom, and then you've got to...
So it's no quick fix?
No. It can take a week.
Other cables will carry the load while that happens, so we are none the wiser to this magic of modern technology. In Tamarama, Jane Azzopardi, 9 News.
Here is a scientific way that you can prove the flat Earth firmament. Whether you believe in the flat Earth theory or not, one thing is clear. There's a lot about our atmosphere and space that we don't fully understand. So let's explore the idea of a firmament and see where the science takes us. We know that our atmosphere contains oxygen, right? But did you know that in the extreme cold of outer space, this oxygen could actually freeze solid? At minus 450 degrees Fahrenheit, oxygen could potentially form a solid glass-like barrier, a firmament, if you will. Now imagine this. Below that icy layer, there could be liquid oxygen. This could be what ancient texts refer to as the waters above. And the cycle continues. As the oxygen warms up, it turns back into a gas, floats back up, and freezes again when it hits the cold. It's like a natural ceiling that keeps resetting itself. If this is true, it adds a whole new layer to our understanding of the world. What if this firmament is what separates us from the vast, cold expanse of space? And what if this oxygen cycle is happening right above our heads, unnoticed? It challenges the very foundation of what we think we know about the sky. Now, imagine for a second, if we could actually observe this phenomenon happening. Would it change your perspective on our world? And could this frozen layer also be the reason why the sky sometimes has that deep blue hue? If this has you questioning everything, then follow me for more videos that push the boundaries of conventional science and open up new possibilities. Not much people has realized that nearly 100% of transoceanic data traffic is carried by undersea cables. These lines are laid on the bottom of the ocean and usually carries the world's internet, phone calls, even TV transmissions between continents. If 100% of internet data is transmitted through underwater cables, That only means that communication satellites are totally unnecessary. I mean, there is no satellites floating out space. It is a scam since our ocean is our real space. This photo right here was installed year 1410, a 600-year-old clock. Remarkable fusion of timekeeping, even celestial wisdom that stood the test of time. Does it look heliocentric to you or geocentric? Geography is called geography with purpose and not heliography. Horizon is called horizon with its purpose, it's horizontal. Airplane is called airplane with a purpose that we are living in a flat plane. I mean, you already let your partner lie to you, the governments lie to you, and NASA too. Come on. You shouldn't drink the whole ocean of lies thinking that the salty taste will taste like sugar. Imagination always creates reality, okay? Now imagine how this world is a flying ball rumbling around, but Polaris and our constellations still remain in the same position. I mean, how many billions of dollars invested in these so-called spaceships just to lie to us that they reach outer space? Unfortunately for NASA and modern astronomers, their theory of spherical Earth does not usually agree with facts, because the formula of their curvature has always been found to be utterly fallacious. That's both on land and water. Have you remembered the Lake Baikal? The largest freshwater lake that's located in Russia, with 395 miles long and 49 miles wide and always frozen for 5 months a year. And it is so thick that cars can pass through across its flat surface. It's funny to think that if Earth were globe, there is supposed to be 19 miles of curvature present on the surface of the Lake Baikal. Instead, there is absence of the 19 miles of frozen curvature. Real physicists that can't be bought by governments always knew Earth is flat. Quantum physicists always work off of a flat Earth model. I believe you know aircraft would need to use what they called the dead reckoning. A dead reckoning is when an aircraft loses its communication on any ground tower, and they have to maintain their heading, speed, and altitude until they get reconnected with another land-based tower. If they could communicate through satellites in space, they don't need to use the dead reckoning, yeah? But they do, because the satellite on space is a scam. Our space is the ocean, period. And don't forget, astronauts can't be astronauts without scuba diving lessons. Not much people has realized that nearly 100% of transoceanic data traffic is carried by undersea cables. These lines are laid on the bottom of the ocean and usually carries the world's internet, phone calls, even TV transmissions.
Well, those are the videos I had for you today. Remember, you don't live on a spinning globe. It's a flat, motionless plane. The evidence is everywhere, along with a million other lies that they tell us. Just open your eyes, use your mind, think. Please hit that like button. Don't forget to leave comments, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.